Welcome to Leadership Synergized, where we explore the depths of effective leadership in high-pressure environments. Hello, my friend. I'm Kevin Smith. Today, we're diving into my unique still mindset framework designed to help individuals unlock their full leadership potential when it matters most. And I'm thrilled to be joined by my good friend, Dr. Lezlie Winter, a brilliant mind in the field of leadership. Dr. Winter will guide us on this transformational journey and through our discussions. Get ready to discover actionable insights that will change the way you lead. Let's jump in, my friend.
Give us some ideas on just coaching, practical coaching techniques that leaders can use to help their teams thrive in those situations.
When we talk about high pressure with our clientele or during our training sessions, and we ask individuals to define what that everyone has is, it's everything I do. Pressure is just there in everything we do as a leader, whether it's as a parent, whether it's as an executive CEO, a small business owner, whether it's as a classroom teacher with the 30 students in the classroom, a school district superintendent, whatever the setting or responsibilities are, pressure is ever present. And the one aspect that I start with is to ask individuals when they're considering how effective they are leading under pressure, to ask them to consider a recent situation that they would classify as working under pressure, and ask them to reflect on how they perceive the situation. Because we really have two choices. We can see it as a threat, we can see it as an opportunity. And depending on whichever mindset we take will determine whether or not we successfully are able as leaders to serve, to execute our roles and responsibilities. But we first have to understand what our natural tendency is when it comes to perceiving the pressure moments, the opportunities. Is it a threat? Is it truly an opportunity for growth? And everything starts and goes from there, because that really will determine whether or not we rise to our preparation or we fall to the threat and the fear that we've allowed to take us over.
I love that analogy. Now, leading into this question, what is, in your experience, the most critical mistake emerging leaders make when approaching professional growth? Give them some skills on how they can avoid that.
That's a question that has a multitude of answers. I'm one that believes there are multiple variables at play in every setting. But for those emerging leaders, I think the first thing that they must do is truly understand their own values, who they are. Now, in many cases, those emerging leaders, they may be a frontline leader. They may not even have a leadership title yet in that regard. That's okay, because they're still a leader. But in essence, depending on where they are in that organizational structure or in the setting of development of their family and the family values they want to have, they may have to depend on guidance from others for a window of time. And I would guide individuals to understand that's okay. That's natural. Because the worst thing you can do as an emerging leader, in my viewpoint, is become impatient and miss out on those growth opportunities that exist as you start out in an organization, as you start out with a family. Many times we allow the setting of the world around us to take us to be something that we're not intentionally, but we do that because we've not really identified the values we want to live by. We can maintain the value systems that we want to have. And Dr. Winter, I think you would probably agree with this as well. I'm not trying to put words with your name behind it, but our values are going to grow throughout our career and our personal lives. They're going to change. They're going to expand. They're going to shrink if they're a value we no longer want to have. But I would challenge our emerging leaders this. Identify who you are, know your strengths, know your values, and stay true to them, but don't allow impatience to get in the way of the opportunities to learn while your leadership opportunities or before your leadership opportunities begin to expand. Just because you don't own the company, just because you're not the school district superintendent or on the school board, doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility to lead. You do. And in many cases downstream, Your role as a leader is to make sure the leaders around you and above you are successful first and foremost.
I love that. And I've heard you speak on that numerous times. The power of executive teams. It's not just the leader, it's everyone that the leader leads. That's awesome. Okay, knowing that self reflection is so important in adjusting your strategies, tell us how emerging leaders can do that and still be constructive in high pressured situations.
What I would recommend for emerging leaders, Dr. Winter, in my experience, it's important. And many times we use the word reflection or to have a reflective process. And the first thing we hear is, I don't have time to do that. The first thing I would guide those emerging leaders to do is forget the word time. It doesn't matter if you take 10 seconds or if you take 10 hours. The number one thing that I would encourage an individual to do, my response to your last question, if you recall, was you need to become self-aware, understand values, understand strengths. Once you understand those two areas of who you are and what you want and where you want to grow to and through, identify a daily or weekly question that basically says, what did I learn about me today? Be honest with yourself. And then secondly, once you identify that, ask yourself, how can I use what I learned about me today to help bring value to others? Those questions in reflective mode can be done on a drive home. They can be done in a short window of time. It doesn't have to be a thesis in writing. It could be one or two bullet points in that sequence. Whether it's done daily, weekly, monthly, I would just encourage them to develop a routine that allows them constantly and consistently to be evaluating whether or not they're being true to their strengths and to their values. I know you've got other things to do, but I just appreciate your time, my friend, and your expertise and just helping me with this programming.
It's absolute pleasure to help you, Dr. Smith. I've long admired your work and our conversations and how you pour into so many people. And so it's a real pleasure to be able to share this journey with you and to support you as you move your work forward.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Leadership Synergized. I hope you found value in our discussion on the Still Mindset framework. Remember, leadership thrives in the face of pressure. We're here to help you navigate those challenges in those high pressure moments and environments. Don't forget, subscribe and share this episode with anyone looking to lead with confidence. Join us next time as we get into more insights. And until then, stay synergized.